Harrow School, commonly referred to as Harrow, is an English independent school for boys situated in the town of Harrow, in northwest London. There is some evidence that there has been a school on the site since 1243, but the Harrow School of today was formally founded by John Lyon under a royal charter of Elizabeth I in 1572. Harrow is one of the original 9 public schools that were regulated by the Public Schools Act 1868. The school has an enrolment of 814 boys spread across its 12 boarding houses, all of whom board full-time. It remains one of the 4 all-boys, full boarding schools in Britain, the others being Radley College, Eton College and Winchester College. Harrow's uniform includes straw hats, morning suits, top hats and canes. Its long line of famous alumni includes 8 former prime ministers, numerous foreign statesmen, former and current members of both houses of the UK Parliament, 2 kings and several other members of various royal families, 20 Victoria Cross and 1 George Cross holders, and a great many notable figures in both the arts and the sciences. This year's Good Schools Guide said parents looking for a top-notch, blue-chip, full boarding, all-boys school will be hard-pressed to beat Harrow. This is a school on top of its game. History: various schools in the same location have educated boys since 1243, but the school in its current form was founded in February 1572 under a royal charter granted by Queen Elizabeth I to John Lyon, a local wealthy farmer. In the school's original charter, 6 governors were named, including 2 members of the Gerard family of Flambard's, and 2 members of the Page family of Wembley and Sudbury Court. It was only after the death of Lyon's wife in 1608 that the construction of the first school building began. It was completed in 1615 and remains to this day, however it is now much larger. The school grew gradually at first, but growth became rapid during imperial times as British prosperity grew. Lyon died in 1592, leaving his assets to 2 causes, the lesser being the school, and by far the greater beneficiary being the maintenance of a road to London, 10 miles away. The school owned and maintained this road for many years following Lyon's death, and the whole school still runs along this 10-mile road in an event called Long Ducker every November. At first the primary subject taught was Latin, and the only sport was archery. Both subjects were compulsory. Archery was dropped in 1771. Although most boys were taught for free, their tuition paid for by Lyon's endowment, there were a number of fee-paying foreigners. It was their presence that amplified the need for boarding facilities. By 1701 for every local there were 2 foreign pupils. This was used to generate funds for the school as fees increased. By 1876 the ratio was so high that John Lyon Lower School was brought under the authority of the governors of the upper schools so that the school complied with its object of providing education for the boys of the parish. It is now known as the John Lyon School and is a prominent independent school in England. It maintains close links with Harrow. The majority of the school's boarding houses were constructed in Victorian times, when the number of boys increased dramatically. The 20th century saw the innovation of a central dining hall, the demolition of small houses and further modernization of the curriculum. Presently there are about 800 boys boarding at Harrow. In 2005, the school was one of 50 of the country's leading independent schools which were found guilty of running an illegal price-fixing cartel, exposed by the Times, which had allowed them to drive up fees for thousands of parents, although the schools said that they had not realized that the change to the law about the sharing of information had subsequently made it an offense. Each school was required to pay a nominal penalty of £10,000 and all agreed to make ex gratia payments totaling £3 million into a trust designed to benefit pupils who attended the schools during the period in respect of which fee information was shared. However, Mrs. Jean Scott, the head of the Independent Schools Council, said that independent schools had always been exempt from anti-cartel rules applied to business, were following a long-established procedure in sharing the information with each other, and that they were unaware of the change to the law. She wrote to John Vickers, the OFT Director General, saying, "They are not a group of businessmen meeting behind closed doors to fix the price of their products to the disadvantage of the consumer. They are schools that have quite openly continued to follow a long-established practice because they were unaware that the law had changed." Recently, the school governors have expanded overseas, opening additional schools in Beijing, China, Bangkok, Thailand, and new territories, Hong Kong. School traditions, uniform. Boys at Harrow have 2 uniforms. Everyday dress, worn to most lessons, consists of a white shirt, black silk tie, light grey trousers, black shoes, an optional blue jumper, a dark blue woolen uniform jacket known as a bluer, the option of the school blue and white scarf and dark blue woolen overcoat similar to the bluer on cold days and, notably, the Harrow hat, often erroneously called a boater, made of varnished straw with a dark blue band. Variations include boys who are monitors who were allowed to wear a jumper of their choice, and members of certain societies who may earn the right to replace the standard school tie with one of a variety of scarves, cravats, neck and bowed ties. An alternative uniform, Sunday dress, worn every Sunday and for more formal engagements, consists of something similar to morning dress. A black tailcoat, which is cut similarly to an evening coat, but with a distinctly higher cut skirt and no facing on the lapels, dark grey pinstripe trousers, a black waistcoat, a black tie, braces and a white shirt. Variations include a grey waistcoat for those who contribute greatly to school sport, maroon waistcoats for members of the Guild, which is the school's art society, a black top hat and cane for monitors, and a hat with black speckles for boys in the first 11 cricket. The head of school has the distinction of wearing full white tie during the Cone Show Latina, a speech delivered annually by the head boy entirely in Latin. Another notable feature of the uniform at Harrow is that there is a separate set of sports uniform with the house colours. These include football shirts, socks, and a rugby shirt. This distinguishes members of different houses, and showed the house spirit within Harrow. The Harrow uniform achieved notoriety in the mid-20th century when a 1937 photograph of 2 Harrovians in Sunday dress being watched by 3 working-class boys was taken outside Lord's Cricket Ground. The photograph was placed on the front cover of the News Chronicle the next morning under the tagline "Every picture tells a story." The picture was soon reproduced in other national publications and became, and remains, one of the most popular symbols of the class divide in the United Kingdom. Practices: every new boy who enters the school is given a 2-week period of time called grace, when he is not fully subject to all school rules and is shown the ropes by an assigned boy in the year above called a shepherd. Soon after this period of time ends, the boy sits the new boy's test, which tests general knowledge of the school's traditions. Sometime later all new boys also sing a solo in front of their house at a house songs, officially ending their time as a new boy. All boys are required to wear their hats when going to or from lessons and to cap all teachers who pass them on any public road and chapel terrace, which is done by the boy raising his forefinger to the brim of his hat. Those who do not follow these rules are punished. Songs have been an important part of Harrow life ever since John Farmer, a former head of music, wrote the first song in 1864. The school considers them to be a unifying force as they are sung by the boys in their houses every term. Songs are sung by the whole school to audiences of parents, former pupils of the school, and guests of honor that have, in the past, included members of the royal family and representatives from previous governments. The song 40 Years On has become known as the school song, although in reality it is one of many compositions. It features a verse about Winston Churchill, and was heard in the film Young Winston. Sport: Harrow has been instrumental in the development of a number of sports. The sport squash was invented in Harrow out of the older game rackets around 1830 before the game spread to other schools, eventually becoming an international sport. In the development of association football, Harrow was one of 7 schools that met to develop the 1863 Cambridge rules, which would influence the Football Association's first set of rules, the 1863 laws of the game. An annual cricket match has taken place between Harrow and Eton College at Lord's Cricket Ground since 1805. It is considered to be the longest-running cricket fixture in the world and is the oldest fixture at Lord's. Eton won the match in 2013, and Harrow in 2014. Harrow has its own unique style of football called Harrow football. The object of the game is to score a base, which is achieved by kicking the ball between a pair of vertical posts, located at each end of the ground, similar to rugby posts but without a crossbar. This may be done either from open play or from yards, and the kick may be of any height. An important feature is the offside rule, whereby a player must be behind the ball before he can play it. Handling is allowed from a kick on the volley, the ball may be caught, and a call of yards allows the catcher a space of 3 running yards unmolested and a free kick out of the hands. The Harrovian is the school newspaper that is published weekly during term time. Its articles are written anonymously, and the school stresses that the opinions expressed in the newspaper do not reflect school policy. The newspaper is published as both an organ of record and a forum for comment, debate and the expression of individual opinions in the school. The Harrovian is also published online by the Harrow Association. Harrow jargon, beat a A master or teacher. Capping a boys and masters saluting each other. Double a punishment for boys. Basically writing lines. Ducker a the school swimming pool. Egka a exercise. Footer, Harrow football. Jerks a house punishment regime normally run at 5:30 each Friday. Remove, the name given to year 10s in the school. Send up a special mention for a good piece of work that is acknowledged by the house master. Shells a the name for the new boys of the school. Skew a black mark given for a poor piece of work that a boy must redo and give to his house master to sign. Speech room a place where the weekly gathering as well as some events take place. Yard a the exercise yard in each boarding house where adapted versions of sports are played. Tosho a shower. Harrow curricula, during their first year, boys take English, mathematics, biology, chemistry, physics, history, geography, Latin classical civilization, religious studies, art, music, design technology, information technology, and 2 from the following list of languages: French, German, Italian, Japanese, Mandarin Chinese, Russian, Spanish and Ancient Greek. Classics are considered very important at Harrow School. During their second and third years, boys work towards their GCSE examinations. They continue with English, mathematics, the 3 sciences, and at least 1 modern language. In addition to these core subjects, pupils choose 4 other subjects from geography, astronomy, history, religious studies, classical civilization, classical Greek, Chinese, German, Italian, Japanese, Latin, art, design technology, music, drama, and physical education. In the 6th forms, all pupils are expected to take AS level in at least 4 main subjects, going on to A level in at least 3. There are many to choose from, including English literature, French, German, Spanish, Italian, Latin, Greek, history, geography, economics, business studies, ancient history, classical civilization, government and politics, religious studies, mathematics, biology, chemistry, physics, design technology, physical education, music, music technology, art, history of art, theatre studies, statistics and photography. Examinations and universities. 22 Harrovian secured Oxbridge offers on January 21, 2014. 4 successful applicants were Old Harrovians who applied during their gap year. Previously in 2013, 13 boys gained places at Oxford, 9 at Cambridge. At GCSE in 2013, 64.0% of grades were at A, and 89.7% were at A or A. At A level, 25.8% of grades were at A, and 71.0% at A or A, school grounds. Harrow School is not built on a campus, it is fully integrated into the surrounding area. There are private houses and shops on Harrow Hill, and the main road through Harrow Hill is a normal public highway and indeed a bus route. Harrow School is made up of some 400 acres of playing fields, tennis courts, golf course, woodland and gardens. Harrow School also owns its own working farm. Currently on the farm are a herd of longhorn cattle and a flock of Shetland sheep. Until 2003 it was a working dairy farm. School houses. Harrow School divides its pupils, who were all boarders, into 12 houses, each of about 70 boys, with one of these houses, Eton, used as an overflow. Each house has its own facilities, customs and traditions, and each competes in sporting events against the others. These boarding houses at Harrow share a legacy of the whole Harrow history. Houses also compete against each other in a variety of activities and fight for trophies to increase the house's reputation. Nowadays, one of the most important aspects of Harrow life would be the house system, since Harrovians are generally passionate and devoted into their house, where they also endeavour their best to win competitions for the house. Until the 1950s there existed what were known as small houses where only €5 boys stayed at one time while they waited for a space in a large house to become available. A 12th large house, Lyons, was built in 2010 and opened at the beginning of the 2010 autumn term. Housemasters, deputy housemasters and their families live in the boarding houses and are assisted by house tutors appointed from the teaching staff. Every house has a residential house tutor, who may or may not also be the deputy housemaster. The housemaster oversees the welfare of every boy in his care. For parents he is the main point of contact with the school. Each house has a resident matron and sick room. The matrons are supported by the school's medical centre where trained nursing staff offer round-the-clock care. The medical centre is under the direct supervision of the school doctor who is available on the hill every day for consultation. There are no dormitories. A boy shares his room with a boy of the same age for the first 3 to 6 terms and thereafter has a room to himself. It is very much his own place, his home for the term, where he keeps his belongings, puts up his pictures, does his work and leads much of his social life. Each house has at least one year group-specific common room with newspapers, television and video. All have their own gardens and sports facilities. Fees and charges. As of 2013, Harrow School charges £34,590 per year for board and tuition. A few select students can obtain either means-tested bursaries for exceptionally able students of parents who may not be able to afford school fees. There are also excellence-based scholarships to reduce this amount. Scholarships can reduce fees by €10%. Bursaries can reduce fees in some rare hardship cases by up to 95%. Charging up to £11,530 per term in 2014/15, Harrow is the 5th most expensive HMC boarding school in the UK according to the website privateschoolfees.co.uk, which provides a comprehensive compilation of fees charged by each HMC school. The Peter Beckett Harrow Scholarship, which includes a means-tested bursary which may pay for up to the entirety of the school's fees in some, but by no means all, cases for the duration of the pupil's time at Harrow School, was featured in a Channel 4 documentary. However, this documentary implied that the scholarship pays for all the fees in all cases. Media coverage. Harrow was featured in a Sky One documentary series in 2013. Old Speech Room Gallery and Museum. The Old Speech Room Gallery and Museum is located in the Old Speech Room, which was built in 1819–1821 as a room to encourage public speaking. The gallery was opened in 1976 to house the school's collections, which include Egyptian and Greek antiquities, English watercolors, modern British paintings, books and natural history artifacts. There is a set of gilt Easter eggs created by contemporary gold and silversmith Stuart Devlin, which have been designed in the tradition of Faubourg copyright eggs and include surprise interiors. There are also some sculptures, including portrait busts of such old Harrovians as Richard Brinsley Sheridan and Lord Byron. The paintings include Sir Winston Churchill's A Distant View of Venice, 1929. Other artists include George Romney, David Jones, Victor Pasmore and Richard Shirley Smith. The museum hosts themed exhibits from its collections. Admission is free. Old Harrovians. Harrow has many notable alumni, who are known as Old Harrovians, including 7 former British Prime Ministers including Winston Churchill and Robert Peel, and the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru. In addition, 20 Old Harrovians have been awarded the Victoria Cross and won the George Cross. The school has educated 3 monarchs, Mukarram Jah the last Nizam of Hyderabad, King Hussein of Jordan and his cousin, Faisal II, the last King of Iraq, and had among its pupils a large number from the Thai, Indian, Malaysian and Middle Eastern royal families. A number of members of the British royal family have also attended the school. Other notable alumni include writers, numerous aristocrats and business people and the big game hunter and artist General Douglas Hamilton, as well as Island Records founder Chris Blackwell. In sports, the school produced the first 2 Wimbledon champions as well as FA Cup founder C.W. Alcock and current England rugby international Billy Vunipola. Alumni in the arts and media industry include actors Benedict Cumberbatch and Cary Elwes, singer James Blunt and horse racing pundit John McCririck. In fiction, fictional Old Harrovians include the character Withnail from the film Withnail and I and his Uncle Monty. Notable staff, Richard Drakeford, composer, David Ellery, retired Premier League and FIFA-listed referee, former Drury's housemaster and head of geography, Robert Key, politician, Herbert Marchant, Bletchley Park alumnus and diplomat, James Morwood, classical scholar, John Ray, educator and controversialist, I.M.B. Stewart, a writer, broadcaster and migrant, Roger Utley, retired England rugby captain and British Lions rugby player, former head of physical education and first 15 coach. Headmasters. See also, Harrow History Prize, List of Old Harrovians, List of Victoria Crosses by School, Thomas Joshua Platt, References. Further reading, Rimmer, Rambles Round Eton and Harrow, Thornton, Harrow School and its Surroundings, Harrow School Register, 1801 €93, Minchin, Old Harrow Days, Williams, Harrow, Archibald Fox, Harrow, G. T. Warner, Harrow in Prose and Verse, Arnold Lunn, The Harrovians, ISBN 1-4538-0948-1, Christopher Tierman, A History of Harrow School 1324 €1991 ISBN 0-19-822796-5, external links, Harrow School website.